All right, what up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tuna Status. I got my guy here, Anthony, Geeky, Big Poppy, ninth wonder of the world, rarest gem of the world. My guy, Anthony Alicea here. We're chilling. We're gonna talk about the car scene, family, what it's like growing up within the scene and having your family be part of the culture, and today, past, present, the whole nine and everything like that. So let's start about, the beginnings. How did you get into the car scene yourself?
So I grew up in a drag racing family. My family from Puerto Rico, they built cars, 7-second, 6-second cars. That's what got me into the motorsport, into the car world.
Yeah.
But my dad, he's been a car guy his whole life. He was OG Boston Lowriders. Every car possible you can imagine, he's probably had it. It's something I can say I was literally born into this.
So how did he get into the Boston Lowriders? Like, what is that out here for people who don't know?
So Boston Lowriders is probably the oldest club right now in Boston, still going.
Yeah.
He got into it.
Shout out to Papo.
Yeah,
and
shout out to
family,
Papo.
Anthony, everybody.
He got into it. He had his car, lowered, had his car done and stuff. And at that point back then, a lot of stuff was simple. There was some cars that, done wild and stuff like that. But his car was just clean enough, and he knew a lot of the guys that were in it. And he started rolling, with Boston Lowriders, and he was in it from, I want to say, maybe the first or second year that they started. He was, he came out with them, and he was with them till my sister was born, and she was born in '99, I think. So he was with him. He was with him for a minute.
That's what's up. So earliest memories, because for me, like my pops, he had an '87 Accord, loaded on ARE wheels. And I just remember that car. It was a bumpy ride, and I also remember, oh shoot, we can't have too many people in the back seat.
Yep.
What are some of your earliest memories of seeing your father's car and, even wrenching on it if you guys did and things like that?
So he had a car called the Spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Colt, and he had it done. He had a different body kit on it, and I see the car in pictures and I kind of remember it. But the earliest memory I got on cars is his '82 Corolla, which they call Red Dog. And
I've seen pictures of that.
And that car, that's my fondest memories within the car community with my dad and stuff. And till this day, he goes to a show and they ask him for the car. They're like, hey, you still got it? And he got rid of it right before my sister was born because there was going to be 5 of us, and that little car, you don't
sacrifices.
don't fit. Yeah, you
sacrifices.
don't fit.
I've been there as a dad. We gotta,
as
you see, ironically, my red car.
Yep.
I had to let go.
Yep. And it's cool because the car got sold, and we think the car went to Puerto Rico. And from what we heard and what we know, the car is a race car now. It's not a low car. It's a race car. So that's
what's up. At least they kept the lineage of the car going and keep it active within the scene.
Yeah.
So, whereas some cars just end up salvage yards, junkyards, accidents, parts outs, all that stuff like that. So what was the car scene for like you? Because with your father being active in the community and things like that, was it more family orientated? Was it very competitive? What was it like going to some of the events with him?
Oh man, so competitive is an understatement.
Yeah,
100%. There's shows that I went with him to Connecticut, and the points were so close that my dad actually was competing against a guy, and they were so close in points. The deciding factor was the color of the oil. They checked the dipstick, and my dad lost because he forgot to change the oil in the car.
How do you think these cars are gonna hold up today with them standards? That's a different story.
That's a whole different road.
Yeah.
But no, cars back that's where I came up. I grew up with the mentality of the white glove feature, which is you check any part of the car with you slide your finger under the wheel well. And my dad with me, he was always when I had the wagon. He's like, your door jam's clean, your gas door clean, under the hood, under the trunk, everything. And sad to say, cars now wouldn't pass that white glove. Wouldn't pass that white
Now
glove
you speak
test.
about the wagon. Where'd the wagon come from?
So my dad bought the wagon back when we lived in Everett. He found the wagon, I think it was in Springfield, and it was a stupid good deal. So he went and he got it. And we named that wagon Little Red after Red Dog, after Red Dog, because ironically enough, they were both red. They were both the same year. It's just that my dad's car was a two-door. This was the wagon.
So in other words, he had what you should have had, and you had what he should have.
Exactly.
And both cars would still be here.
Exactly. Exactly. And so he bought that, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start looking around for. I've always been into the old school stuff, the old school Toyotas, Mazdas, all the old school stuff because it's easier to work on, easier to maintain. And I actually found an '80 Corolla Sport Coupe that my dad's friend had, and he sold it to me for $600. Yeah, and it needed work, which I was perfectly fine with. Perfectly fine with. And I kept the car for a minute. We parked it. We took the motor out, took a whole bunch of stuff apart, and I was driving the wagon more than that because the wagon was able to be driven.
Yeah.
So I was going to meets and stuff, going to shows with the wagon, and one day I come home and I tell my dad, I'm like, I'll buy the wagon off of you. I'll give you cash, and I'll give you my Corolla on top of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me think about it. And because after all, it was an '82, just like the car, everything. So he was like, he finally was like, all right, you know what? We'll do it. Give me cash. I'll take the car, and we're good to go.
Which is a dad, I know what you did there, and I know you was happy as hell to see your son take that car and hold it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to fake it a little because as, some people know, most people know, I'm handing off the green Subi to DJ.
Yep.
So I know I'm going to put him through the whole ringer. You got to do that as a parent. Make sure they're responsible. But when I see him cruising down the street, I know I'm going to be like,
yep.
Yeah, you know.
And we actually got to cruise together because at the time, so I bought the wagon off of him, and the Corolla was still parked. He came across a white '82 Supra, and it's something with these '82s that we just keep coming across, and he got that, and I had the wagon, and I have pictures of him in the Supra, me in the wagon, and I can already tell because I know my dad. He was cheesing in that car because it's like he's like, I'm with my oldest son because there's three of us.
Yeah.
But I'm with my oldest son. He's cruising behind me, and life is good. So this is some of the fond memories I have, and I had me and my dad. We actually made the wagon to what it was. We did the whole Japanese, the Japanese culture in Japan. Even though they want to be like us as much as we want to be like them. I did the fender mirror. I was one of the first ones to do fender mirrors out here.
I remember that. Yeah.
And everybody was like, yo, what's the point of them? And there's no blind spot with those mirrors because I can see down the whole length of that car. So there was no blind spot with it. And it looked cool because, it's an old school car and you're like, oh, okay. It all flows. And
but what was it like wrenching on a car with your father?
well,
is it worse than having a backseat driver, or is it kind of still the same? Is he on your back, like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, only because he knows the car in and out. And he would let me sit there and try it, know that I'm going to fail.
Because I know how stubborn your father is.
Yeah.
So, but I also know how stubborn you are.
Yep.
So,
so no, he would let me do it. And then if I did it wrong, he would like, now I'm going to show you the right way so that way you can do it, down the future. And, just like what you see online, dad yelling, you brought me the wrong, the wrong lug nut, or you brought me the wrong ratchet, or, you're not holding the light where I need it. Yeah. And it's, but to this day, it's those are memories that I got with my dad, and, those are memories that I'll always have.
Now, we spoke on a little bit of Puerto Rico, and, I do want to touch base, which is another thing I want to introduce to the podcast as well, speaking of culture and how it's influencing. Now, we all know that when we go to the car shows and things like that, and not to be stereotypical because it's very positive with Puerto Ricans, we know that there's a particular way they carry themselves and how they carry their cars.
Yep.
Things are on point, details are on point. Modifications are very to their liking and very specific to the culture because they keep their heritage throughout the build. Yep. What was it like building a car for you with those standards on your head?
So it was hard only for the fact that I like, like I said, the Japanese culture, but at the same time, I was staying true to my roots with like keeping the wagon simple. Like I did all the old school stuff that you would see on any of the Corollas. I had the 5-panel wink mirror.
Yeah.
The interior was color matched to the car.
Because although very competitive, the Puerto Rican car community is very tight knit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know a lot of people's cars, know a lot of people's families, and
Yep.
a lot of things like that.
Yep.
So it's dope seeing how you guys, out of many cultures that are within the car scene, are so tight knit with each other. Like I said, very competitive,
Yep.
but very tight knit.
Yep. And it all goes down to like, like you said, everybody knows each other's family, so it was always like we all hang out together. We're all cool. You watch my car, I watch your car.
Until the day of the car show.
Exactly. No. Until you roll through that gate, all bets are off.
That's
and
when niggas on your ass.
Yep. It's all bets are off. And you park with each other. You park right next to each other.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, it's your car versus my car, and may the best one win. And at the end of it, we go drink a beer together.
Yeah.
Like
When was the last time you've been to Puerto Rico?
I haven't been since I was little.
Yeah.
But I'm planning to be going.
Gotta go back, bro.
Yeah.
I've been 3 times in the past 5 years, and I love the island. I love the culture. Love the food.
Yeah.
Love the food. Love the weather.
Yep.
As soon as you touch down in that airport in San
Yep.
Juan, you're like, oh my
Yep.
god.
Yep.
But you see the car culture laced everywhere, from the mountains,
Yep.
the rainforest being next to Junque. You can see anything from a Mirage. You can see an Evo. You can see Super. LaShawn even went down there. He was like, "Y'all never seen so many A90 Supers in my life."
And that's the thing out there. Is like there's a little bit of everything. You got the guys that do the mudding, out in the woods and stuff like that. You got the guys that are just clean. They like to park in a parking lot and just chill.
Yeah.
You got the guys that race, and you got the guys that just put the car together with whatever they got. Whatever they can scrap up, they put a car together. And I don't knock that because not everybody's on the same level financially. So you know what I mean? You put the car together with how you can do it, and that's how I did it with with the wagon. I didn't overdo myself because I knew my boundaries and I knew what I could be comfortable with doing and stuff.
All right. So I mean, also within the past few years, I've also noticed there's more. The culture over there is being more highlighted because you're starting to see events like Tuner Evo, you're seeing Honda Fest, and a few other guys. Not to say Puerto Rico didn't have its own shows, but it's dope seeing a lot of that culture being highlighted over here. How do you feel about some of the car culture and some of the event promoters going over there?
I love it. Shout out to Sean and shout out to David for having their events out there. I think it's cool because we get to see stuff online with social media and stuff like that, but actually having promoters out here that do big events here, do them out there and, bring, because the island is small, but once you have you have a whole car culture together, you're like, damn, like, it's a whole separate world and, the mods are different, but
I know what's bigger though. What is it, the racing or is it the street scene as far as
It's racing, both track and street racing, because you got guys that just like out here, guys that'll build a car just for the street. You got guys out there that'll build a car just for the track.
Okay.
But
what about the cosmetic side though? Like as far as like the show car, what's bigger, the show car aspect or
the show car? Because I mean, a lot of the race cars, like the people that I know that own race cars, they're full 3/4 chassis car. They're cars built correctly in a shop, all safety in mind. But cosmetic wise, you're gonna see, you see the cars out, like all the new, like you said, the Supras, all the Type Rs and stuff like that. There's a market for them, and it's slowly getting over there because, everything is being showcased out here, and now you got a connection where, they can get the parts out there, which before they couldn't really get them. So they had to do what they could with what they had.
So now tapping back into the conversation with Little Red. So you have your own build now. You're working on with your father. You're getting on the road. Now introducing yourself into the car scene. How is it meeting like-minded friends, like-minded people? Because us meeting together through Tuner Status and meeting JC, Mass Vapors, and things like that, and East Coast Alliance already getting traction and going and everything like that. How was it for you meeting friends?
So, funny enough, when I worked at the Pru, Two of the guys that worked there actually knew my dad. They're older, a couple years older than me, but they knew my dad because their uncle was in Boston Lowriders too.
Yeah.
So when I started working there, you get to know your coworkers and stuff like that. We were talking, and I told them, that I've been around the car community, and they're like, oh yeah, I told him who my dad was, and he was like, really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, and kind of figuring, like, trying to figure out where the angle they were coming from. And they were like, oh, well, my uncle is so-and-so. And I was like, small world, because we were actually at car shows together, but didn't know it, when we were younger.
Yeah.
So it's cool that it started like that. And then, like you said, social media, Facebook, because Instagram wasn't...
it wasn't really a thing like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't what it is now. Yeah. And you see like JD and Mass, like that was one of the first groups I got on was JD and Mass.
Shout out to Quos. We already talking, so
Facts.
We just locking in with the schedule.
That was one of the first ones, and meeting like-minded people, and they would host a meet or they would host just a get together at a parking lot, and I started going to it, and then I found Tuner Status, and literally from there it just all went up because it was all people that. They like the same things I did. So it was easy to, just, yo, what's up? I'm Anthony, or Geeky or whatever. And it was just easy to talk to because it was, same interest.
Mm-hmm. So some of the highlight years, as we're coming out to the events and meets, you're there, we're all there as gang. What was your favorite year for you within the car scene?
Oh, man. Favorite year, I want to say... the year we did the big one at Miller Ale House.
Yeah.
That year.
Iconic, dude. That feeling that day. I was tired as hell afterwards.
Stressed 100%.
But, that day was epic
for
me. What was epic for you about it?
The fact that we took over granted, Mass Tuning did it with the underground garage, but the fact that we took over an entire parking garage and outside, and it spilled over into the Home Depot down the road. I was like, this is where it's at.
Yeah, like I knew at that moment, I was just like, yo, we are really on one.
Yep.
And we're literally sharing a parking lot with FBI.
Yep.
Yeah, so just like,
Everybody was real polite that day.
Yeah, we was real courteous, real polite on the P's and Q's because government don't play. They made it very clear that
was the first thing that we were
gonna
told.
let you outside.
Yep.
But
there was no two-stepping. Everybody's music was at a comfortable level.
Yeah.
And nobody was stupid because everybody knew who the big dog was in that yard, and sure as hell wasn't us.
Yeah, and it was dope because it was a summer event, but I think it was the only summer event that we really hosted where it wasn't like 1,000 degrees outside, so everybody was cool, comfortable. And we had so much support during that event. It was dope, but we was all running around trying to make sure everything was locked in because we seen what it's like with events that we've been to, how some of the structure we didn't like, and we seen some of the stuff that we loved.
Yep.
What was it like, being on a team and organizing an event for you?
It was dope because now looking at pictures and looking at those memories, it's like I was a part of that. You know what I mean? Like I had a role in that, and till this day I still look at the picture from that meet specifically. Just whoever took the top shot facing down, I'm like yeah, we really did this. Like we did that. That's one of my dope memories, and also all the Mass Vape meets. Because it's.
Yo, we had some nights on that lot.
Yeah, we did.
I'll never forget. I was riding and this is how you know when you got some real ones by your side, no bull. My paperwork wasn't kind of official, and I told the fellas, and these fellas made sure that we took every back road from Lynn all the way back to the crib. Yep. So there was no boys in blue to make sure I got home safely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was an interesting night. JC had the supercharged friggin' Civic.
Yep.
I'm there with my loud ass Subaru, and Geeky's there with his car low as shit. And we're like, at 1 a.m, trying to be inconspicuous. No, not at all, yo. But we made it though.
We did, and that's how you. That's what I like about, not to shit on the community now.
Yeah.
But the community then. Everybody had each other's backs. Like, it didn't matter what club you were with or who you hung out with. It's like, I saw it countless times. There was people on the side of the road. People would pull over, be like, "Yo, you good? You need help, whatever."
Yeah.
And people stayed with people until they were sorted out and
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
made it home. That's what I love about the scene from back then. I don't speak too much on it now because I took a break. But like everybody says, like, oh, the scene isn't what it used to be, and it's like it'll never be what it used to be because time moves on.
And everything changes.
Yeah, exactly. Everything changes, and
Clothes,
yep,
food,
all the trends.
music.
Yep,
I mean, yo, I remember you couldn't find tight jeans in the store because everything was baggy. Now
Yep.
that's all you
yep.
find.
Now
All you
everything's
find.
everything's fitted now.
Yeah.
is what
Oh
they
my
call it.
God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a big boy, so that fitted stuff don't work with me.
All right, so we're back. So now we're talking about change and growth in the car scene and everything like that. A lot of people aren't accepting change. A lot of people aren't liking the changes. How do you feel about the changes in the car scene?
Well, like I said earlier, times change. We got, memories stay, but times change. It's no longer, from what I see, now everything is, you got bags, wheels, and a wrap. That's it. A lot of people call that a build because they put it on the car, they added it to the car because it doesn't come with the car. A lot of people say, that's just, that's not a build. I see both sides of it. I see where, some people want to call it, a build in the sense of like it's something that they're starting. And the people that say, oh, that's not a build, is because they're so used to how it was back then where, a build has to be touched front to back, inside and out, top to bottom, which that's how I see it. But not everybody has the financial means to make a show car, because if that's the case, every car out here would be a show car. Because
Yeah.
if everybody had the access to the same amount of money, everybody would have a show car.
That's true. And also, I believe there's a lot of things like things are a product of its environment.
Yep.
So, I mean, how many shops do we really have out here that people can send their cars to?
Not many. The ones I know off the top
Because
of
that's
my
the thing that
head.
you're hearing a lot about from New York down is the amount of shops. It's not to knock any shops that are out here, business that's out here, and then we also have a lot of people that find out their friends are learning how to take on these things themselves. So why go to the shop that's going to charge X amount?
Yep.
Because everybody always has a friend that does it better.
Yep.
And granted, there are some situations where the friend can do it better.
Yep.
Because I mean, think about it. We all shout out to Wang. We had Wang
Facts.
out here dipping our cars and wrapping
Yep.
our cars for a bit,
He's
But-
he's still wrapping his car because I see his car every couple months and it's a whole different color. So he's still at it.
But, I feel like these cars are a product of the environment and the standards that's out here right now.
Yep.
And until we start denying, there is no really a bar
Yep.
set.
Yep.
And
that's when the butt hurt's gonna come in.
yeah, so I feel like, and not to play blame game, but everybody plays a part in it, but I feel like it comes down to one, the shows, and two, the shops.
Yep.
Because if the shops are producing higher quality cars, it's not going to matter whose friend knows how to do whatever. Everybody's going to know this is the spot to go to if you want to get your shit done right.
Yep.
And with the shows, once that shit's done right, is it to the standards of the show that you really respect? Because everybody could put out a show and an event or a car meet or whatever.
Yep.
But we all know the events out here that are really like, they're setting that bar. If you got a trophy here, this is where you get the trophy at.
Yep.
So what does evolving in the scene mean for you? Because right now, the car's in the rebuild process. I don't want to speak too much on the new project. But, how is it taking a break and coming back for you?
At first, I'll be 100% transparent. It sucked.
Yeah.
Because it's all I knew. All I knew is every weekend we were at a meet or a show or we were all kicking it or cruising or whatever, and it's all that I was used to. And then when I took the break, I was like, damn, like what do I do with what do I do with all my time? And
Get married.
Yeah. And and it's things change, and I found out who my real friends were when I got rid of the wagon. Because when I had the wagon, everybody was always like, yo, let's do this, let's do that. I got rid of the wagon. And it was just a handful of people. You know what I mean? So it's like it opened my eyes to that it was like people are around when you have something, and then when you don't have something, people are gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it opened my eyes to that, and for a while I wasn't going to shows, wasn't going to meets, because I felt like there was something about me that I was just pulling in, and I was pulling in a regular car, and I was just parking, and then walking into the meet, and I felt like I felt like something was off, and I do appreciate it, because when I took the break from like the shows and the meets and stuff, I got back into the track stuff and getting back involved in like drag racing and stuff like that, which has opened some doors for me that I'm gonna be exploring. And once this car is done, I'm gonna be working on something with a little more power, and it's gonna be a little rowdier.
Nice.
So
nice. So now seeing the relationship between your mother and your father and the car things and the car scene and things like that. I know you don't have any children yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But what's some of the foundation you want to lay for your child, if you can? Because we all know that they're gonna go into their own, do their own. They might not even be into cars at all.
Yep.
But let's just say we get a perfect, not perfect, but a good situation where they're actually into cars. What's some of the experiences that you want to share with them?
The same exact ones I went through with my dad, yelling at him to hold shit right. No, but no, I like you said, they might like it, they might not like it. I'm gonna love it if they love it, and I see the same spark that I saw in me when growing up with my dad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still have them at the track with me. I'm gonna still have them, at the meets with me, at the shows with me. And if they do decide that they don't like it, and they want to do, just for the sake of it, let's say sports, I'm gonna push them. Do your best. Don't half-ass it. Be 100%, or don't be it at all. Because I can't sit there and say, oh well, if you don't like cars, if you don't want to be involved in cars, then that's on you. I can't do that, because it's not the right thing to do as a parent. I mean, I don't have kids yet, like you said, but I have little cousins. I have my niece and stuff like that, and I can't sit there and be like, okay, you don't like cars, I'm not gonna associate with you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. Like, I gotta support them for whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do. So
now we're talking about passing on the torch to your child, and passing on the torch in the car scene just in general. I faced that challenge myself, even the idea, because as I'm stepping more away from events and getting more to the media space and things, because it's more, I've spoke on it several times, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but being able to slow down and speak with people one-on-one is so much more enjoyable at this point in time. And I'll say I didn't enjoy hosting the events with you guys and things like that, but it went from hanging in a parking lot with my friends to now, I got to make sure this is good, vendor's good, that's good, this good, that good. Nobody's tearing up the parking lot. There's no fights. Everybody's respected. Everybody's having a good time. And I see a lot of my friends at the event that was pulling up. And even with you guys, I was pew, 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 having my kids there. Didn't really get a chance to sit back and really enjoy it until I'm sitting in my car with that burger from Fuddruckers in my lap. And I'm just like, yo, it's hot outside. This is the moment. What's some of the, challenges that was for you, and some of the positives about being a part of an online car community? Like, what were some of the ups and downs for you?
The ups were, if I needed help with something, or I needed something, or I didn't know something, because I don't claim to know everything. Back then, I can say people were more helpful in the sense of like, they would, help you out with like, okay, hey, try it this way or try it that way. Like, a lot of the stuff now, what I've noticed is a lot of stuff is like hush hush, like secrecy, like only certain people get the information. And if you have your little tips and tricks, I got tips and tricks that I learned from my dad. And not to go back to talking about my dad, but my dad had the lowest static car around back in the day. His car sat a quarter inch off the ground, static, and nobody knew how he did it. And I didn't know how he did it until 5-6 years ago, when he was like, this is what it was. And, so it's it's cool, having that platform back then because Instagram wasn't really popular back then. It was always the Facebook group.
Yeah, it wasn't short form content. It's like when you had to post something, you spoke on it.
Exactly. And the comments would be 100, 200 comments, and that's what I liked about it. It was more. It was community. It felt like a forum. Like you got on a forum and you were all discussing the same
days,
thing.
bro. Team Integra, Club RSX, Evolution.net. Listen, them forums used to be. But that was the dope thing about it in the scene because the person can live in Wisconsin, but they're constantly, hey guys, I picked up a set of stocks but great tires, or I picked up this new mod, I installed it, this is how I installed it, this, that, and the third. So by the time you went to a car show, you already felt like you knew who the person was because people were talking so much on the forums. Like, as soon as you got out of work, listen, I'm about to order this part, and how do I install it?
Yep.
And that was your guide because you went through somebody and you followed their steps, and it was just like,
and it was bing, bang, boom, and done.
This is no, hey, I'm gonna go to the garage and put this on in 5 minutes.
Yep.
It never worked out that way.
No.
You spent the 5 minutes looking for the 10 mil socket.
Yep. You spend 5 minutes looking at the part, just like, all right, so how am I gonna get this in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and some of the downs were, it always happens, like watching clubs beef and stuff like that, and seeing fights break out at events, and it sucked because it happened, and that puts a stain on the community, because us in the community, we see it, and it's like that happened. There's two teams, shit got heated. It happens. People on the outside are like, they're fighting over cars, like like they don't know the principle, they don't know why. They just see a whole bunch of people with modified cars, loud cars, fighting over something. So those are some of the downs. I know there's going to be conflict, there's going to be fights everywhere, but that just seeing that kind of for me at least made it put a stain on the scene in the sense of like why are we really fighting, like you know what I mean, like we all wore a different name on the back of our shirt, but we were all at the same event for the same reason.
I hear you. I feel like I agree with you. We did sway from what the grassroots were, which is why for me with Tuner Status, I personally stepped down and slowed down so much because of two reasons. One, COVID hit, and it made me realize, hey, I don't have to spend the whole summer touring. Because anybody who follows me and knows me, during the summer, I'm outside all over the place.
Yep.
The whole summer. So I was losing weekends with my kids, losing soccer games, soccer practices, football games, things like that.
Yeah, watching them grow.
And me trying to convince myself, hey, I'm going to give them one trip out of a whole summer was making up the buffer. And it wasn't it. COVID allowed me to spend more time with my kids and realize how dope that was. The second thing was, we started Tuner Status, and it started as a group of friends in a parking lot. And that's what it was always supposed to be.
Yep.
A group of friends in a parking lot. It didn't matter if there was 5 or if we had 500. Because we had at Dave and Buster's.
Yep. The OG days.
But it started to disgust me because then, and I get it, at a certain point, you have to pay attention to business, but then it became a business.
Yep.
And I didn't like that because then it was now affecting relationships of, okay, how do I hit people off? Are we even making enough to hit people off? Or am I covering for insurance? If this person does this, the amount of conversations I had with property management after leaving the event, and I'm like thinking, oh, we had a great time, everybody had fun, blah, blah, blah. But then Monday comes. And I have that phone call about how this business was affected, how this person was called and reported to the police or the city or this and that and whatever. And I'm like, damn, we had such a great weekend, and it would piss me off by Monday. And I'm just like, you know what?
That high that you had from the weekend would just be dropped because of, one phone call or one email.
So then we took a break, and I wanted to get more intimate, starting with just invites only with just the friends again, because I realized that, for me, we have enough friends that if we pulled up in a parking lot and just invited our friends, it would look like a freaking party anyways.
Exactly.
So now for you, I see you're more active. I see Jose. Shout out to Jose. He's hosting the Meets and Uber and anything like that. What's it like for you going back into the swing of things with the night events?
So it's it's cool to get back into it. To see where, what it is, and like, it brought me back to like the Mass Vape days and the Dave and Buster, where it was like a midweek meet, because we don't always all make it to the same show on a Saturday or a Sunday because of work or whatever. But it's cool because it was like the midweek. It's like, oh, you got to catch up with people, and
which is what we were doing.
Exactly. Yeah, that was literally we were just hanging out, and you would see people like, oh, what's new, whatever, and people would actually show up with something new done to the car, or it was just catching up. Everybody just talking, and it's cool to get back into that, and to see how much the scene has grown. But it ain't really the same. Like now, you hear like 75 different songs playing because everybody's blaring their system and stuff. It's not like you can have 5 or 6 people around one car, just having a conversation. Not that it's bad that you want to play your music. You paid the money for your system, by all means. But it's you got 13 other people doing the same exact thing, and it sounds like a clusterfuck to say the least. But it's cool to see because the last one that I went to, the last meet that Jose does that I went to, we had the police show up, and they were just like, hey, do you guys have permission to be here? And we were like, the owner of the restaurant, he was he was at the corner. They went over, they talked to him, and they came over. They're like, all right, you guys are cool. We're not, we're leaving. Anything happens, just give us a call. We'll take care of it. All right, cool. And they actually walked around. They walked around the meet for a while because, we all know why they were really walking around the meet. But it's cool that they actually walked around, like they were talking to people and stuff like that. Like it wasn't a hostile thing. I mean, when they first pulled up, it was a little hostile because they came in because they see 50, 60 cars in the parking lot, which I don't blame them. But then once they realized that we had permission, we had the right to be there, they were like, all right, they toned it down, they walked around, and they left. But we all know that they were waiting around the corner because they were waiting for somebody to go ahead and do a pull leaving. But it was cool to see that. To see that being brought back, it's cool. It gives you like that back in the day vibes.
So now we've talked about growing up in the scene, the culture in the scene, the past, present, and future. Speaking more into the future, what is your role? Where do you see yourself in the car scene? Do you feel like you're going to continue to keep it moderate and dumb it down, or do you want to get back active with it?
So
build-wise and community-wise. So
I've had that like internal conversation with myself, where the car that I got now, I don't consider it a build because by all means it's not. I bagged the Altima. Actually, JC bagged the Altima, so shout out to JC.
Yeah, shout out to JC.
As soon as I was back and forth on doing it, and I was like, you know what, screw it. Ordered the bags. I hit up JC and I was like, yo, I just ordered bags for the Ultimate. He was like, yo, when are we doing them?
Yes, very JC-like response.
Always. JC's always the first one to say, yo, when are we doing it? So, we bagged the car, and we bagged the car. I got wheels for the car, and the car's going to be out this season, on the wheels. I'm doing the trunk. I'm doing everything on the car that is how the car's going to look has all been, JC doing the bags, and I'm doing the trunk. The wheels, I got them off LaShawn. Shout out to LaShawn for the wheels.
Yo, he's been getting a shout out on every podcast. I don't know what's going on with this dude, but we got to finally put the name. I'm going to insert a clip right here of LaShawn. Make sure y'all go follow him.
Facts. But, and, the way the car is going to, it's like what I say, like it's a car to go cruise around in. You know what I mean? Like when we bagged the car, took it to go get ice cream. And I aired the car out. I air the car out any chance I get because I have to. And I aired the car out, and me and Brittany are in line at the ice cream place, and there's a little kid behind me with his dad. And the little kid looks at his dad and goes, "Hey, Dad, why is that car broken? Because it's on the floor." And
bro.
I look at Brittany, and Brittany's like, "Go ahead, laugh, smile, because I know you want to." And I'm like, I haven't had that since red.
Yeah.
And you know, it gave me that sense of, you know, like we're back on the bullshit. But the car is by no means a show car. The car is literally, I want to go drive to Maine, I'll drive to Maine. But the car that I'm gonna be, that'll be a build. I have a few leads on a couple of them. I won't give them out yet, but I will say that it will be an American car, and it's going to be a high horsepower. Yeah, it's going to be a high horsepower car.
That means we're gonna be in touch with Sean Garcia very soon.
Yep,
It means trouble.
it will be a high horsepower car, and that's something that I've been working on the side. Making sure that I have the resources to get what I want, and yeah, it won't have that backfiring that you can hear from a mile away, but the car idling, you will hear it from a mile away.
Like my car, literally, I've had them turn it down, and it's still just popping.
I heard it when we were going to park. I'm like, why does this sounds low? Yeah. It doesn't have that rumble that I'm I'm used to it with that car.
Yeah, everybody, like even DJs like, yo, this is literally the quietest car in the world. And I'm just like, I'm getting older, man. Yep. Them grades are starting to show, baby.
Yep. No, and that's what it is. Like for me, like that's what I did the Altima, like of all cars. Like I personally haven't seen another Altima my generation bagged on wheels. Since the purple one or the coupe.
Yeah.
And even then,
it's been a while.
Yep. And even then, that was actually a 3rd gen. Mine's a 4th gen. And when I called Bag Riders to order the bags, they were like, "Yeah, what kind of car is it?" And I told them, they're like, "It's a what?" And I go, "Yeah, it's an Altima." And he's like, "Hold on, let me look, see if we got it." And he's like, "Wow, we have everything in stock." So they sent everything over. And I was on the phone with him the other day ordering some extra parts, and he was like, "We're gonna need pictures of that when you're done with it because we don't know of another 4th gen that's on bags and stuff." And I'm like, "I know." I
know a couple guys who do photo and video.
Oh no, 100%. Oh, 100%. I'm gonna be getting at you and LaShawn because I do have a few spots up by my house for some rollers.
Yeah, you going up you guys' way, man.
Yeah.
Yo, them roads. I'm just like, damn.
Yeah.
Why am I out here so?
Yeah. No, and that's,
I know you were happy that you took the truck when you hit some of them roads, though.
Oh yeah. No, and that's another thing, and that's another reason why I stepped back is I had to sit there and put big boy pants on, and it was time to buy a house, settle down, and congrats. Thank you. And it's priorities had to be set straight, and now I'm at a point where I'm doing good at my job, where I can sit here and I can be like, all right, cool. Now it's time to put something together to to play with.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I'm still gonna be active, but I won't be like I was before. I'll go to a few meets, shows here or there, but the car is literally, it's like what I tell everybody: the car's for me to go get ice cream. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. That's yeah. You know what I mean? Like
the car's built for a vibe. That's the thing.
Like back then, we used to drive to Revere Beach and just park at the beach. Like that's literally what the car's for.
Kelly's.
Like, yep.
Yeah, man.
That's literally what the car's for. Like I've never been a trophy chaser. I have trophies, and they're collecting dust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so for me, it's never been about a trophy. It's never been about recognition because, I'll put it as nicely. I can give 2 shits what the next person thinks about me. It's what I think about myself. So I did the car for me, not for anybody else, not for a trophy or anything like that. And it's been fun getting back into it. And I've had shitload of conversations with JC, and
JC gonna get you in trouble, man. Listen, man, that man.
Well, when we were at his house back in the car, I knew it wasn't gonna be a one-day thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell this story because it was funny. Not at the time. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. We were drilling in the firewall to run the lines through the firewall for the battery and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And we didn't notice the drill started walking through the grommet, and we snipped the main harness for the car. Wasn't funny at the time. I honestly my ears were probably steaming because I was pissed. Not at JC. I was never mad at JC, but because situation, and because I took it as it always happens to me. Like every time I want to do something, something kicks me back. And JC was like, "Yo, like we'll regroup. It's not meant for us to do it right now."
Yeah.
And that's what I took it. I went home, and I took it as it's not meant to happen right now. So we sat back, waited a little bit, gave it a week or two, and went back to it. And put the harness back in. We couldn't even figure out what the wires did for the harness because JC turned the car on and everything. And the car turned on. It didn't idle weird or nothing. We couldn't figure out what it was until he had to move it, and it locked the shifter. It had the emergency lock, so you couldn't put it in reverse. You had to push that little pinhole in to release it.
Yeah.
But took the whole engine harness out, and he heat shrinked it, put it all back in, and you would never notice that anything was out. And then after we did that...
So if anybody buys the car, it's garage kept all winter, never seen rain, never seen the snow, flawless.
Yep.
No problems.
Yeah, exactly. And when we came back to do it, JC was like, "Yo, I bought a grommet. We're going to make its own hole in the firewall. We're not going through that whole thing again." I'm like, "Yo, that sounds good to me." So we did that, and the car's bagged now. I've had the car's been bagged since March.
Yep.
And
already?
Yeah. Shit. I love it. Just the fact of push the button, sit it on the floor, and my mother-in-law's like, she's like, "Oh, it's a fun little car now." And
what I gotta know is because your pops is old school.
Oh yeah.
Old school static kid.
Yep.
Does he feel like you have a cheat code? Does he respect the cheat code with the bags?
He respects the cheat code up to a point.
Cause I know you still ride that shit low.
Oh, 100%. I ride it low.
But there's low and there's low all the time.
Yeah. No, there's low with me in the car by myself, and there's low when Britt's in the car or when I have somebody else in the car. But he respects it, but at the same time, it's like I didn't have to go through the fact of like doing the coils the way he did it, doing the springs the way he did it, and I like it because I can sit there and be like, all right, cool. It's raining out. I want to drive factory height and not worry about a single thing. Boom. Oh, cool. It's sunny out. All right, let's send it down. He respects it, and he was like, when I first told him I'm bagging the car, he goes, "Where are you sending it to?" And I was like, "JC's house." JC's house.
JC's shop.
That's right.
You should have already known.
Yeah, that's right where it went. And we we did the car, whatever. My dad was like, came out good. I haven't had any issues on bag. I love the bags.
Yeah.
I love the fact that now
you know I haven't gone back.
Yeah.
You know I haven't gone back, bro.
And I love the fact that now, I mean, like I said, my car's not a show car, but now I have the car put away for the winter. Like, car's put away. I ripped the trunk out, the tank, everything out of the trunk because I'm going to redo the entire trunk. It's not a show car, but I want it to look clean in case I want to show somebody. Pop the trunk. That's what the setup is. But yeah, no, it's. I never thought I'd see myself in a bagged car, and I drove Rishi's Infinity when it was bagged, and I was like, maybe this ain't that bad. Maybe this ain't that bad. And then I was like, you know what? Now I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it now. So, yeah.
All right, my guy. Well, as always, it's an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate you here telling your story. Make sure you guys tune in. I'll put all this information in the description box below. Thanks for watching another episode of Tuna Status. Is anybody you want to shout out before we head out?
My family.
Yes.
My friends.
Name drop, baby. You got a name drop.
Oh, JC, Bree, Rex, LaShawn. everybody that I've always talked to, Rishi, because I mean, Rishi's been there, as long as you guys have, and that's
Mama Geek, Papa Geek.
Yeah, my parents,
Britt,
my sister,
June.
June, Britt especially, she's put up with, with my shit with cars, and I appreciate it. I got a good one. But no, we ain't stopping. We just going a little slower now. But we still gonna have fun though.
All right.
We're still gonna have fun.
And we're gonna end off on this one last bit because you answered one question already. Here's for the second one. When all is said and done, and not to be morbid or anything like that. But what is the legacy you would like to leave behind for everybody?
The legacy I'd like to leave behind, that if you're gonna do something, do it all the way. Don't just stop because it gets hard. You know, if you're gonna do, you know, it doesn't have to be just the car stuff. You know, just do it 100% or don't do it at all. Because what's the point of doing something half-ass? And like you said, not to be morbid or anything, but you know, when I'm gone, I want everybody to remember, you know, me for me. You know, even if it's for the wagon, be like, oh yeah, he used to drive the wagon or whatever. And just, you know, live life to the fullest because we're here today. We don't know about tomorrow. But as far as the legacy, you know, just do it all the way or don't do it at all. Because, you know, we're lucky to see, you know, every day we wake up, we're lucky to see it. But it's just, you know, do what you want to do and do it all the way. Because it ain't worth doing half-ass. I learned that the hard way.
All right, guys. That wraps up Tuna Status. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.
That's honey.